Welcome to the Lizard Labs Herp of the Week. And this week it's going to be presented by Lincoln Macgregor. There's a bit of a clue as to what it might be about, but over to you, Lincoln.
Okay, thanks, Martin. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Herp of the Week. This week, I'm basically presenting a species which I really love. And yeah, this will give you a bit of a clue, this image. I know two of the people in our lab have already worked with this species before. And if you don't already know it, it is a really recognizable species. You can't confuse it with any other snake species in Australia, apart from its very close relatives. And it is none other than the Bandy Bandy, which is here. There you go. So for those who don't know, the Bandy Bandy is a nocturnal species of snake. And most people, you might recognize it from field guides, but a lot of people won't have actually seen it because it is nocturnal and it is fossorial. So it spends a lot of its time underground. They're also oviparous, and just to give you some more general information, the females grow larger than the males. They grow up to about 75 centimeters. The average length is a little bit less than that, and the males, they can grow up to about 50 centimeters. And they are the most widespread Bandy Bandy in Australia. We have, I think, 5 or 6 species of Bandy Bandy, and they all look very similar. And very recently, I think 2 or 3 years ago, they discovered a brand new species of Bandy Bandy in northern Queensland near Weipa that they've recently described. So for this particular species of Bandy Bandy, you can see it's distributed across a lot of eastern Australia, and they can survive in environments from rainforest all the way to desert. So they're quite they're not too fussy about the habitat that they are in. And what makes them really cool is their defensive displays. So if you ever come across one of these and you approach it, these snakes, they will, if they feel threatened or they know that something's coming, they'll raise their body up into these loops to kind of as like a defensive display. And people suggest that this sort of is to ward off any potential predators, to make themselves look a bit bigger. And with that, those really contrasting black and white bands, it's been suggested that might be aposematism, because these snakes are actually venomous. One other really cool thing about the coloration is that these black and white stripes, when the snakes start moving on the ground, even though these are really conspicuous, the movement actually causes this kind of optical illusion where called flicker fusion, where when the snake moves, the black and white bands merge together and it kind of obscures the snake's outline and it makes them difficult to track. So if they start moving on the ground, predators are going to have a difficult time keeping up with where these snakes are going and how fast they're moving. So that's really cool. And interestingly, these snakes, they survive almost exclusively on a diet of blind snakes. So as you can see here in this photo, they basically follow the scent of blind snakes, which has actually been studied, and they'll go ahead and swallow them. And they can eat blind snakes that are pretty much the same length as their own body, which is really kind of impressive. So they end up ingesting these huge meals, and it's quite an unusual dietary choice, I think, because blind snakes themselves are not the easiest thing to find. They're sort of a bit, I would consider them a bit rare in the environment. So that's really interesting. And it's also been suggested that the dentition of these snakes is suited to this diet. So Bandy Bandies, they have only a few teeth behind their fangs, a few small teeth which actually allow them to swallow these prey items with ease. So yeah, that's a bit about the Bandy Bandy, and I think they're really cool. yeah, let me know what you guys think.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lincoln.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be plenty of questions and comments.
Cool.
Yeah, looks like. I know that Rick has. There was just somebody at the door. I know that Rick has picked up many of these on the West Head Road.
Mhm.
Is there any,
Yeah.
you want to tell us a bit about that, Rick?
Yeah, there was one stage several years ago now where we started going out weekly on the West Head Road, cruising for snakes. We found lots of juvenile diamond pythons. Bandy Bandies were the most common, surprisingly. Brown tree snakes and so on. It was fun. I think that defensive display with the loop raising is incredibly puzzling. I don't, and it looks, I mean, everyone says it's there to scare the predator away. It looks like the snake is providing you with a nice handle to pick it up. I don't understand why a sensible predator would be put off by those loops being raised. The California king snakes do the same thing in response to the smell of rattlesnakes, which are a main predator for them. So it's not the only snake that raises loops, but the king snake actually slaps the loops down onto the rattlesnake, whereas the Bandy Bandy just sits there with the loops in the air. Very peculiar, I think. I'd love to know what it's about.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, whenever I've seen them, they always, when they raise their loops, I notice that sometimes they kind of thrash their body to the side a little bit and raise another part of their body as loops. But yeah, it's very interesting to see the whole display they do.